Welcome to MELfeed.video. We are commencing a live web stream service via youtube.com from Echuca, Australia. We currently conduct these streams on Monday evenings, with other times to be added as more opportunities arise. Please visit our website MELfeed.video for further information. This web video project presents old and new community TV programs. Please enjoy your stay with MELfeed.video.
Hello and welcome to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich and I'm here with my daughter Nina Zoe Rich. And our guest today is Rhiannon Tracy, and she was a quadriplegic and still is, but she's incomplete and able to walk with crutches through diving into a swimming pool at the shallow end. She'll tell you her story. We'll just recap because we were on again last week. So welcome back to the program again, Rhiannon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Can you just recap your story a little bit just for the new viewers if they haven't caught the last episode?
Sure. So on the 18th of September of 2009, I dove into what was actually meant to be the deep end of the swimming pool. So I hit my head at the bottom and instantly became a quadriplegic. So it'll be 6 years this year, and I've done a lot of recovery, I suppose, towards getting to where I am today.
Yeah, and we talked last episode about a lot of the just continually trying to strengthen muscles by 24/7. All your waking hours, you're contracting muscles pretty much, weren't you? Trying to bring them back to life.
Just trying to kind of reconnect my entire body.
And reading about it and watching films about it, and it became like a task, like you said, like an athlete conquers what they have to do by just thinking about it, breathing it, living it, sort of. That's right. It, wasn't it? Yeah. Can you tell us, and since this you've got involved in a few things, also the Wings for Life run, which was televised on TV, some of it, and it was like on the news, and that was something that was happening all over the world to raise awareness. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So it was actually something that I was really, really proud to be asked to be a part of this year. I was an ambassador for the Wings for Life World Run. So I was one of the Australian ambassadors alongside a few other amazing people. So it is a world-renowned world run, obviously, and it is raising money for spinal cord injury research. So it's the only race in the world that happens at the exact same time worldwide, which is incredible. So the Melbourne leg of the run began at 9 p.m. So we ran right through the night. So it's also the only race in the world where the finish line catches you. So a half an hour after the race commences, a catcher car is released, and the race is over for you when that catcher car overtakes you. So it's fun as well.
So you got to always beat the car.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. So you set your own personal goal of how far you want to go in the run, and my goal was 5 kilometres, and my boyfriend and we smashed out 8.5. So it was really good. He pushed me most of the way. It was at 9 o'clock at night along Elwood Beach, so it was freezing.
So you went in the wheelchair, did you?
Yeah. So it was fun. It was really exciting.
And there were, how many people were there, would you say?
Oh, to be honest, I can't really remember the number. It was thousands. There were thousands.
That's good.
So worldwide, we raised €4 million.
€4 million? Yeah. Wow. Gee.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about what's become of it, or any results? Have they come any further in finding any interesting research for spinal cord?
I think research in itself is still very much in the infancy. So there's so many things at the moment that could potentially be a cure for spinal cord injury. So I'm not sure exactly where research is at, but for myself, I focus on being physical, being active and healthy, so that when the cure does come along, it's only going to benefit it. So at the moment, even with stem cells, everything goes hand in hand with exercise and movement. So I focus on that right now, and know that it's only going to benefit a cure when it comes along, if it comes along.
So it's kind of like in your heart and mind, you're thinking, leave no stone unturned.
That's right.
I'll do my part, and when it comes, hopefully I'll be the ready candidate for it.
That's right.
Yeah, beautiful. I hope they do find something amazing. That would be amazing.
I think every person, I speak on behalf of everyone with this injury, but we all wait for that day. So yeah.
The only thing is, some people listen, like some doctors say, oh, there's no cure, so don't worry. Maybe there'll be a cure one day and you'll be able to get it. Don't do anything, don't worry about it, wait for the cure. And then some people take it the wrong way. They just sort of sit there and don't do anything, and they think, oh, well, I'll do other aspects of my life and wait for the cure. But I think it's important to try and make the effort as well ourselves to get stronger with our legs. And
like I said in the last show, you know, you can either sit and do nothing and be miserable and, you know, just not have a fulfilling life, or you can get out there and you can try.
Yeah.
You know, you can try. And for me, it was about just doing exactly that, just trying. And, you know, I even know today, like when I have days where I'm not doing so much physically, like having a lazy day, which most people crave for, a lazy day in the hectic lifestyles that we all lead now. But on a lazy day, for me, it's like I feel miserable because I'm not, you know, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend says to me all the time, because I'm exhausted all the time, because chronic fatigue is part of this injury, and he says, you know, you just need to have a day where you're just doing nothing, and it's physically impossible for me to do nothing. I need to keep moving.
Ah, that's good. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Because I know what it's like to not be able to.
Yeah, exactly, yes. And so this Wings for Life, so people came in wheelchairs as well. Who were the people that came to run? Were the people that were running?
Yeah, so anyone was able to do it. So anyone in a chair, any able-bodied person. There was lots of celebrity athletes there this year. So Mick Fanning was down there, and you know, there was just some really incredible people getting involved, which is what we like to see. You know, it's the Australian spirit. I think everyone gets involved to help a cause. So,
And where was the run?
It started at Elwood Park, so we ran right along the beach.
Yeah. And that would have been quite cold.
It was freezing. In fact, they only got the permit for the run the Friday, like I think they said 9 a.m. on the Friday, and the run was on the Sunday night.
Okay.
So because the run was being held at night, it was the only race in, I think they said, Australia that's actually been run at night.
Oh.
So we had to wear high-vis vests, and we had to have like a torch light headband. So that was like the terms and conditions of running the race. So it was a lot of fun though. As freezing as it was, it took us it took me a good 2 weeks to recover from it, and it took, you know, my boyfriend, who used to be a rugby player, who hasn't been playing rugby for a few years, he went from doing no training leading up to it to running 8.5 kilometres. So it took him a good 2 weeks of hot baths and muscle soaks and everything to recover, but it was good fun.
And what's quite wonderful as well is you were the ambassador for it. So could you tell us how you got involved in that?
Yeah, so
or one of the ambassadors.
Yeah, one of there was 3 of us. So it was really fun because I was the female ambassador. So I think it's really good to be involved in something like that and be a woman, because I know for me, when I had my injury, confidence was a huge thing that, you know, I lacked, and it took a lot for me to regain. So to be able to be a spokesperson for such an incredible cause that is obviously close to my heart, given my own experiences, you know, to be able to get out there and be confident and run or wheel alongside all these people, you know, it was really exciting for me. And I got involved just purely with my advocacy that I do with spinal cord injuries. So
beautiful. We're about to go to a break now. You're watching NAT Chat. Stay with us. We'll be back with more very shortly.
To every child's development, an important message from the Australian Toy Association.
You teach us strangers are dangerous, but someone we know is a much more likely threat. You teach us strangers are dangerous, but who will help when you're not around? Create a world without unnecessary fear. Prepare, don't scare.
Take it from me, one punch can be lethal. Thrown in anger like this, without warning, without any gloves, it can be deadly. One punch can end his life and ruin yours. It takes grunt to throw it, it takes guts to walk away.
Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich and here you can see my daughter Nina and our guest is Rhiannon Tracy if you've just joined in. Welcome back to the program, Rhiannon.
Thank you.
So you've had this quadriplegic spinal cord injury called incomplete and you're able to walk now with crutches every now and then, like when you're not so busy running around in a wheelchair doing lots of things. Tell us a little bit about this spin chat you're involved in.
Sure. So I'm really honoured and privileged to be a part of Spin Chat, which is an initiative from Independence Australia and also TAC. So Spin Chat is a spinal cord injury prevention program that sees the speakers go and visit schools across Victoria and regional Victoria as well, sharing our stories in hopes of, you know, preventing further injuries from occurring and also helping these kids and teenagers realise that they're not invincible and anything can happen, because like we know this injury doesn't discriminate, it can happen to anyone. And you know, it's really incredible how it doesn't matter where I've been to, what school I've been to, whether it's, you know, co-ed, male or female school, there's always a student that can relate in some way to what I've gone through in their own life. So it's not, you know, just about spinal cord injury prevention, it's about sharing your experiences to help overcome things that people could potentially be going through in their life. So
even other difficulties they might be going through, it
sure,
kind of affects them.
You know, I visit lots of VCE students that, you know, are going through their VCE, are very stressed out, some that don't know what they're going to do after they leave school, and hearing my story sometimes, you know, turns their perspective on life around and makes them realise that they're actually more capable of doing what they believed in themselves initially as well. So it's a huge experience.
What do you actually talk about at Spin Chat? Can you give us an example of one of the segments you do? I know we only have like about 5 minutes to do it, but if you can just tell us.
Sure. So I share my life experience. I'm very honest in my Spin Chat. So, you know, I'm very kind of cutthroat. This is what happened to me before and after my accident. Given that I talk to students, I talk about my experiences at school. So the fact that I hated school, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I left school at 16, became a hairdresser because that's what a lot of my friends were doing. And then I realised that my capabilities were much greater than that. So I actually returned to study and became a veterinary nurse. So I talk about that. I talk about how I had my goals and aspirations all set for me, and then this happened, my injury happened, and it definitely threw a spanner in the works. So I talk about my progression and my transition being, you know, someone with a spinal cord injury transitioning into a businesswoman and growing up, I guess, and just my achievements, triumphs, things that I've overcome, where I'm at today with my life and how I got there. So very much going back to how I turned something negative into a positive, and I am living a fulfilling life and I'm happy. So that's the main thing. Happiness after this injury is something that unfortunately isn't something that everyone feels after sustaining an injury like this. So it's definitely about promoting the good things about life after the injury, but you know, sharing the bad in the hopes that it does prevent these injuries from occurring, because you know, the age bracket is between 15 and 24, which most spinal cord injuries occur, and that's the age where we feel like we're invincible and nothing can happen to us. So it's definitely about that early intervention. And I think if I have had a speaker, you know, like someone from the Spin Chat program visit me in high school, I think I definitely would have made some different decisions.
Wow. And do you get much feedback? Do you have like open conversation after you give your talk?
Definitely. That's my favourite part, actually, after the presentation. So, you know, I get asked some pretty interesting questions, sometimes some daunting ones, but I am very, like I said, I'm open and upfront. I don't sugarcoat anything. You know, so it's really nice to hear how the students have related to my story, and they share with me, you know, kind of what bits grabbed them, and you know, it's definitely interesting to see how people perceive the injury as well. Like I said earlier, this injury is not a what you see is what you get thing. So when they find out, you know, that I can't go to the bathroom on my own, it's like shock horror, you know. So it's fun. It's fun, and it's definitely something that keeps me going, because you feel the energy of the room. Like, I've spoken to hundreds of people, I've spoken to thousands of people, and I've been in a room with 8 people, you know, with Spin Chat, and it's different. You know, every talk is different, and I get something different out of it each time as well.
Right. But now you can go to a bathroom on your own.
Well, I still use catheters. I do intermittent catheters, so technically not on my own.
Oh, no, I thought you meant you had to go with someone physically.
Used to have to, but yes, on my own, but I do use catheters.
Yeah. So there's a lot of hidden things that people don't see with a spinal injury.
There's so many complications with this injury. It's so in-depth.
And do you know many other people that have had this spinal injury that you actually mix with now?
I've met some really incredible people since having my injury, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I've had, like a lot of people with a disability or with an injury, there are a lot of relationship breakdowns, there's lots of friendship breakdowns. Still can't pinpoint as to why. I think that a lot of people just can't, I don't know whether they can't handle having someone that, you know, is a little bit more high maintenance. I think I was more high maintenance before I had my accident than what I am now, to be honest. But, you know, I've met some people that will be a part of my life for the rest of my life, and I'm really thankful for that. And, you know, I think surrounding yourself with the positive people are what helps you get through life on a better note.
And how often do you do Spin Chat?
It varies severely, so I can have, you know, one once a month to one once a week. It just depends what time of year it is. So generally around the start of the year and the end of the year is the busiest, especially given that my injury happened in a swimming pool. So definitely around summer, I'm a big advocate for, you know, safe swimming and water safety and things like that. So generally around summer I actually do a lot of primary schools and, you know, talk to them about water safety and things like that. So yeah, it just varies, but it's, you know, it's a casual thing, and it's nice to be able to go out and do something like that, you know, that once again is helping people. So
right, so you talk with primary school and secondary school students. Wow, and that's pretty good. How long's that been going on for?
I think Spin Chat has been around for quite some time, but I've been involved in it for 3 years.
Beautiful. Well, about to go to a break. You're watching NAT Chat. Hope you're enjoying the program. We'll be back very shortly.
This bank is helping to save lives. Every year, 500,000 Victorians have no idea where their next meal is coming from. Food Bank Victoria works with farmers, supermarkets and manufacturers to make sure their surplus stock ends up here to be distributed to those in need. But all of this is not enough. Right now, this bank needs interest, your interest, to support Victorians in need. If you can help, visit foodbankvictoria.org.au.
Are you playing renovation roulette? I'm John Jarrett.
Now, I know that deadly asbestos lies hidden in 1/3 of Aussie homes.
It can be found in any home built or renovated before 1987. Lurking in walls, under floor covering, behind tiles, in roofing. Asbestos, it was used everywhere. So if you're a renovator or a tradie, you could be risking your life and the lives of others. Remember, go slow. Asbestos, it's a no-go. Visit asbestosawareness.com.au to learn what you need to know.
fabulous minutes every week. Meet the famous, the fortunate and the fashionable as Steve and Jacqueline take you to all the events around town. Not to be missed, it's the most fabulous 15 minutes you'll ever see.
Hello and welcome back to NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Rhiannon and she's talking about her experience from overcoming spinal cord injury. She still has her injury, but she's able to walk with crutches now. Welcome back to the program. Now, you've gone on to start your own business called Next Step Recovery. Could you talk about that with us, what you went through to get that happening? And what it is.
So the Next Step Spinal Cord Injury Recovery Centre is my baby. It's my world. It's the whole place has been derived from my own experience after having this injury. So given that I was so young when I had the injury, the recovery outcome for me, as bad as it was, which was that I'd probably never get out of bed again, it was something that I just definitely didn't want to accept. So my family actually fundraised to fly me over, well, my mum and myself fly me over to San Diego to a recovery centre over there. And recovery from this injury can vary, you know, like for me at the time, it was all about walking. That was my priority, that was my goal, it's what I needed to happen for me to be happy. And I've learnt down the track that recovery is just one thing that, you know, is the light at the end of the tunnel for us all. But recovery can be broken down into so many little things that we take for granted. So, you know, I went to this recovery centre that focused on the things that weren't moving, which was so different from, you know, standard rehabilitation. They were focusing on what was already moving. And I wasn't treated as someone with a disability. I was literally treated as someone that was injured and needed to recover. So it was about moving the things that weren't already moving, training like an athlete, being able to take those first steps that kind of had the trickle effect and brought on so many other things. And I spent 6 months going back and forth to this facility, and what it did for me mentally as well as physically was huge. But something that I noticed, and I was seeing a lot of people noticing, was that it was actually lacking quite a lot of things. As great as this place was, you know, it was about this place focused on, you know, pushing you to the point of exhaustion. And unfortunately, the last time I visited the facility, I ended up in ICU because my whole body shut down, because it was just so exhausted and so sick of trying to do what it wasn't able to do at that time. So I ended up in the hospital over there in ICU, like I said, and wow. I spent weeks over there. And when I came back to Australia, you know, I'd been diagnosed with all these different things in the hospital over there, and MS, masses and tumours on the brain and things like that, really? Just these ludicrous things. And my GP actually looked at the reports from the hospital and ripped them up and said, you've got a spinal cord injury, that's what's wrong with you, and you're so determined that you're actually making yourself sick. Like, I was suffering with anxiety, all these things. Wow. So I decided to actually try some different recovery methods, and that's, I had, while I was in hospital, had massages and acupuncture. But what I had decided was to kind of leave the physical stuff, you know, on the sideline for a little bit and focus more on my mental health and what I was eating, what fuel I was giving my body to be able to recover. So I was seeing naturopaths, I was seeing, you know, active counsellors and motivational coaches and things like that. And that was the thing that was starting to really make a change for me. And I haven't been in hospital since 2012. And I've been, you know, practicing this healthy lifestyle, and I've been able to pass this knowledge on to other people, and I've watched them, you know, get to be able to reach their goals. And so I decided to open a facility similar to the facility that I visited in the States, but actually embody whole body, you know, recovery and, you know, practice good health and well-being, and, you know, actually educate the patient, educate the client to know that it's more than just pushing your body physically. It's a whole body program. It's very holistic, and I hate using the word holistic, but it's about eating the right food and fueling your body and being in a healthy mindset to be able to, you know, give it your all when you are training physically.
Absolutely. I mean, diet is really key.
Yeah, and you just don't realise how much, until your internal organs are affected by something like a spinal cord injury, that you actually realise you really are what you eat. And, you know, even going to the toilet is just, it's all about what you eat, you know. So it's amazing, and it's something that I think even able-bodied people should be educated further on, because we all want to live a healthy life and we want to be around for as long as we possibly can. But for people with this injury, it's about being able to, you know, have their body perform at its optimal best.
And so what is the structure there at Next Step?
So we have 3 different programs. We have a 3-month Fast Start program, which is like a transition from coming from the Royal Talbot to getting involved in an exercise recovery program. And that has the client have all the modalities. So they train for 2 hours 3 times a week. They see a motivational coach, they see a naturopath, they have massage and acupuncture, so that's the whole package. They have everything. And then they transition into more of a lifestyle program, which sees them come in still for their training but continue on with the alternative modalities as they see fit. And we also have a casual program. So the centre itself acts as a bit of a communal hub as well. So it's also a resource centre. It's also a support network for not just the individuals affected by the injury, but their families and their support networks as well, even their carers. So it's definitely like a hangout place for people with spinal cord injury. But it's definitely, you know, it's just kind of like the spinal cord injury oracle, I think. You know, it does incredible things for myself, being able to go there every day and see what it's doing for other people. And we're seeing complete paraplegics literally take their first steps.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
That's beautiful. And you started it yourself with your mum, didn't you? Or with them?
So it was a dream that my mum and I both had, obviously, because of my injury, but we were able to get our community and, you know, a lot of our support networks involved. We needed to, because it is a not-for-profit organisation, so we needed to fundraise to be able to open the door. So we've had some great support from some really amazing people, Rotary, you know, there's been so many people involved to get it to where it is today.
Wow. And how long has it been going for now?
So we've been open since March of last year, so just over a year.
Wow, beautiful. Well, we've run out of time for the program, but thank you so much for coming on the program. It's been lovely.
Thank you so much.
You've been watching NAT Chat. I'm Mirella Rich, and there's Nina Zoe Rich, and our guest was Rhiannon Tracy. I hope you enjoyed the program. See you again soon.
Performance Poetry comes your way with Red Lobster every Monday night at 9:30. Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Hello and welcome to Etc. I'm Dave McLaughlin. Joe Felber is a Swiss-Australian multimedia artist. His latest installation is inspired by the work of American art theorist and painter Ad Reinhardt. In particular, Reinhardt's famous 25 lines of words on art statement, published in 1958. This project is a collaboration between Joe, composer Elliot Geiger, and dancer-choreographer Lucy Guerin. It features 7 stainless steel tubes through which the voices of the choral compositions created by Elliot are played, along with a series of suspended light bulbs that operate as metronomes. Projected onto the floor of the exhibition space are also videos of the animated text and photographic elements of the work, and also Lucy's dance. In addition to this, Lucy does some live performances with the exhibition. I spoke to Joe and then to Lucy outside the Australian Centre for Contemporary Art when the exhibition was on display here in Melbourne.
Well, Reinhardt was a painter and a theorist, and his book Art as Art is based on his theory, and it relates very much to the black paintings. And his practice towards the end of his life was on the negation of art. And the negation of art is based on, in this particular case, on 25 lines of words, on art statement. Those 25 lines have a quirky explanation of, it says something and it says nothing. But however, he says so much, or says so little, and in that sense he says so much. For instance, art is art. Art as art, everything else is everything else. Or brushwork, brushes are brushwork. And that particular sentence, brushwork, brushes are brushwork, relates again to his practice as a black paintings, which is the where he put layers and layers of color onto the canvas, and it ended up to be a lustrous black or a bluish black, or it's never quite black because the blackness transcends some kind of space. And by taking everything away, he put so much back into it. And my approach to his work was like looking from a positive side, from the negation, looking back into a positive aspect. Firstly, I was so much struck by those 25 lines of words on art statements, and I did it on the computer software. I decomposed, I destroyed the sentence in his approach about the negation. So I made vertically and horizontal decomposition of graphics, text graphics. Those became the elements for Eliot to work with. I gave those to Eliot, which he was very happy to do so, because he has worked in the past with different text pieces for choral, and he was specifically intrigued by the decomposition and the graphic visuals. However, he had a bit of difficulty to compose it because he's never worked with visuals. But I particularly think that he beautifully were able to transform the text and the destruction of the text, and so it became a new element of the sensitivity of it, to listen rather than to read or to see, and that was my real reason. Then the pendulums became almost like a new aspect of a visual oral perception, because I felt like the music itself needed to be visually extended itself by the pendulum, and the pendulum relates to the metronome, and so it becomes a physical and a visual experience to absorb the music much better.
And how's the dance integrated into that as well?
The dance came later. I was looking for somebody to elaborate, to extend it further with the dancers. So I've been introduced to Lucy, and I met her, and she was very responsive to the project, especially to the black paintings of Red Reinhardt, and she put a lot of thoughts about the work of the blackness. And so I discussed with her that I want a formal dress, and she came up with the dress design as a transparent, dress. The transparency again relates to the nature of the work, which is about the blackness of Red Reinhardt, as well as the transparency of culture and transparencies of different practice in the arts. And that's where I really believe that the new art should go, new media art should go, that it's about transparencies, that we are looking into different practices, and it transforms and has a transparency of different practices coming out of it.
How unusual is this form of multimedia art, integrating dance, physical art and music?
I would relate it very much like to music theatre. However, this terminology is not very used in Australia. It's much more used in Europe, and music theatre goes back to the opera, which is like the sort of 19th century was really very strong. And so it's basically play, music and a stage, and it's not much difference to this one. And obviously here's another component, which is video, which I documented Lucy's dance, which is projected onto the floor, so the viewer can always appreciate her movements within, with her compositions or choreography to the piece. The second video really gives the text piece that I decomposed, which is done on After Effects, and also the photographic visuals, which again goes into the notion of abstraction. My ideas about photography is to destroy the photography, to not manipulate it, but to actually physically throw the camera, and it becomes a result of abstraction. I do not particularly like to use the computer aspects to change that, but I rather prefer to actually use the physicality by dropping the camera, etc.
How would you describe yourself as an artist?
I think today art has, since we have so many different medias now introduced since sort of post-war, I think that this pluralistic approach and inquiry on different medias, I see myself as a pluralist media artist, and my passion for music and dance over the years have always been a silent one, and I was able to come up with this project to utilize this to an optimum and inquiry about different practices in the arts. But I see myself more as a director and a producer in this work, and collaborated with different people.
Is this your first collaboration across different aspects of the art?
Yes, it is the first one. I did a piece in Queensland, which was 1994, which was linear reading, and I did everything myself, and it was much more smaller budget, which I did the visuals and the music, and it was like a 9-month project, and at the end I felt I needed to go further. This was only with slides, so I was able to invite a composer, I was able to invite a dancer, and to go further. But obviously this is a much bigger budget, and thanks to the Australian Arts Council and to the New Media Arts Fund to really come up with the sponsoring side of it.
Is the recognition of the diverse sort of multimedia elements of art and the things that people might, the ordinary public might say, well, that's not painting, so it's not art, or it's not sculpture, so it's not art. Is there that recognition and support in the arts community for what sort of thing you do?
I think since this Australian Arts Council has founded the New Media Arts Fund, I feel there's a group of curators and art appreciators have grown to become more perceptive to new media, which is cross practices of different cross practices of the arts. And also in Europe you see this a bit more often, and as I explained to you before, the music theatre is a strong one, and I believe that there is a large audience in Australia. Well, it's always been small. When I say large, at least a number of people who become more and more aware of this, and this, obviously the Australian Council is a great support of that and wants to continue supporting it. And I believe we're going into a very exciting time where, depending on obviously of the economic situation of the country and what can be spent on the art, but I think we're going to an exciting times in terms of the arts towards the new next towards the millennium. Yeah.
Your brochure describes you as a Australian-Swiss artist. And I'm just also interested how the cross-collaboration between your experience in Europe and experience here.
I think that's been a vital one, because I've been a nomadic artist for the last 12 years and travelled extensively and also stayed in different places in Europe and back here. And now I'm decided to settle back in Melbourne and work from Melbourne as a base. And obviously my cross-culture experiences coming from Switzerland and having a dual citizenship with Australia is a very vital one in terms not only of a citizenship but also as different experiences in culture. And Australia has been the place where I mostly created it, and always brought it back to Europe or to New York, where I show as well. And it's been always a pleasure for me to work from Australia and to focusing to international, such as Europe and America. Yeah.
What's your next project going to be?
My next project is one with the music, which is I like to come with this the Melbourne Symphony, maybe working with Markus Stenz, if he agrees with me, on a German composer, and that is quite a big step towards a bigger project, but obviously things have not been finalized yet. It's in the early project stage, so, but that's the next bigger project that I like to achieve.
Lucy, can you tell me how you got involved with this exhibition?
Yes, initially I was approached by Joe Felber, and he wanted a live dance element in the work, and I was interested in the project, and so we had some discussions and figured out what we were going to do, and that's how it...
How did you go about that?
I worked pretty much on my own on the choreography. I talked to Joe about the idea for the project and about a little bit about Reinhardt and the black paintings, and then I interpreted it myself through the choreography. It's a collaboration with three very separate elements all coming together without a lot of discussion between the three of us beforehand. So that was an interesting aspect of the project for me, to just see how it would come together. It was a bit of a surprise for all of us, I think. Mostly the elements I was playing with my dance and my response to the Reinhardt paintings were, my costume is a transparent see-through kind of black cone, which is very structured and in a sense negates the form of the body, but because it is see-through, you get that double layering of very rigid form and that fluid unpredictability of the body, which is something that I worked with, and also just the idea of minimalism is always endlessly fascinating to me, so I used some components of that. And also the white wall, I sort of went into this little story for myself of, you know, the black shape adoring the white wall, and that was fun also.
Now, apart from the two short live performances you've given, most of your contribution is on a videotape being shown, actually projected onto the floor. What differences did you find between doing that video and performing for the live audience here?
When I perform live with the video, I think the video has a very particular point of view. It has close-ups and particular angles and highlights particular details, facial, feet. So the audience's gaze is directed very specifically to certain elements in the dance, whereas with the live performance you're really presented with the whole space and the whole body all the time.
Did you find it difficult to create something that would integrate well with the other elements?
Yes, I did actually. It was difficult because given the nature of the installation, it's not something I've had time to rehearse with. I've had to think about it pretty conceptually and just imagine the tubes and the swinging light globes, which are quite prominent in the space and fairly difficult to negotiate from a dancer point of view. So
yeah, that struck me. Those swinging light globes seem to be quite a hazard.
Yes, but I mean, I do find it really interesting. I think I would have liked a little bit more time in the space with the installation, but you know, that wasn't really possible and hasn't worked out that way. So, but that's the nature of these kinds of projects. There's always a little bit of unpredictability, and that's also what makes them interesting, I think.
Is that a challenge, working with the unpredictability?
Yes, it is. I find it a challenge.
it's, you know, you think you've got something all planned, you think that you know exactly what you're doing, and then you walk into the room and there's 10 people standing where you were going to go and do your little dance. So, you know, you have to quickly think of how else, and then there's a big pole in the way, and so...
That was another aspect of the live that struck me, was a sort of randomness of the audience participate. I mean, they were standing back out against the walls, but they were in what might have been considered the dancer's space to some extent. Was that difficult to deal with?
Not so much in this second performance, but in the first performance, when there were, I think, you know, over 100 people, it was difficult. But I think it's quite interesting for other audience members to see audience in the picture as well. It's like they're included in the whole event, they are part of it, so it's not that same removed aspect that you get when you're sitting in a theatre.
There's a difference between forgetting something once and forgetting it many times. There's a difference between forgetfulness and dementia. Talk to someone who understands. Call the National Dementia Helpline on 1800 100 500.
If a man's home is his castle, his shed is his kingdom. It's a place men can hang out with a few mates, build a few things, even if you haven't before, and give back to the community. No man should be without a shed. The Australian Men's Shed Association is working to provide a shed for all Australian men, and they have over 400 already. Visit your local shed, build your community, and make a difference. Find a shed near you. It's time to give back.
Transports of Distant Delight is a mixed selection of transportation pictures from here and there and almost everywhere, but not quite. Some quirky, some mundane, some from the past, perhaps reflecting a transit system that has vanished into history, and some from thriving transport entities that continue to endure despite the constant pressures from the all-pervasive motor car. Enjoy.
Classifications let you know about the content of movies and computer games, so you can make informed choices. G tells you the content is suitable for general viewing and playing. PG means parental guidance is recommended, and the content may not be suitable for younger children. M says it's recommended for mature audiences over 15. MA 15 Plus indicates that legal restrictions apply, and the material is not suitable for those under 15. R18 Plus is restricted to 18 years and above. You can also find useful consumer advice next to the classification. Look out for these symbols on games, DVDs, advertising posters and movies. Please use these classifications to help you choose with confidence.
Welcome back to Etc. As part of his Ad Reinhardt project, Joe Felber has also produced a companion video to the exhibition, encapsulating all the elements of the work. Here now, in its entirety, is that video. That was Joe Felber's companion video to his Ad Reinhardt project. And that's the end of our program for today. Goodbye.
RSPCA, for all creatures, great and small.
Joy, well-being, community, inclusion.
Special Olympics is a global movement for people with an intellectual disability, creating a world of inclusion and community through sport, where every person is accepted and welcomed, regardless of ability. One athlete, one volunteer, one family member at a time, helping to make the world a better place. Join the inclusion revolution by supporting Special Olympics.
And choose to include.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
Alleluia. Om Mani Padme. Om Allah.
Welcome. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Javed Safdar Chowdhury, who's the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Australia Association Victorian chapter. Ahmadiyya. Many of you may not know what an Ahmadiyya Muslim might be, but let me give you the motto. And the motto is love for all and hatred for none. And now we'll explore more about Ahmadiyya. Thanks for coming, Javed. As an Ahmadiyya Muslim, how long have you been in that faith?
Thanks, Norm. Myself, I was born into Ahmadiyya faith, and this faith came to my family about 4 generations ago.
4 generations.
This was late in 90s, towards the end of the 19th century when this faith started. My great-grandfather who converted into this religion or this faith.
And so you're from Pakistan. How does the Ahmadiyya, as a child in Pakistan, following that faith, what was it like?
Yeah, there's a lot of memories there, from childhood, and this was the time, if you look back on my personal life, I grown up into a society, when there was a lot of movements against the Ahmadiyya faith in Pakistan, early 70s, or that was the time. So from childhood, there are miserable memories from childhood as a student, going into a higher education in the university level and then going to practical and professional life.
Yes.
So there are miserable memories, and definitely as a society, Pakistan is a lovely and wonderful country to live. Lovely people there. There are good and bad memories. But as Ahmadiyya, all Ahmadis are suffering there, unfortunately.
Where does Ahmadiyya divert from other forms of Islam? So,
okay, I'll give you a brief history of Ahmadiyya in that case. Apparently, if you look at the history of human being and look at the history of different faiths, and all original faith like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, we believe of same Lord, same Creator, and it has been tradition and history that whenever there's a need of guidance to the humanity, some reformer or some prophet or some guide is sent by the God Almighty. And the same way, as per the prophecy of Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that in the later days when the original Islam will not be there, there will be a reformer will be coming. And all the Muslims are waiting for that one. That's the way the Ahmadiyya faith started. In 1889, a promised Messiah we believe in, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, British India of the time. He claimed to the promised Messiah, which everybody else is waiting. And as a reformer, no changes in the Islam, basic fundamentals are same, and he claimed to the promise as a reformer to bring the true Islam back to the origin. So that's the way it started in British India of the time.
Okay. Well, the true Islam, is this the right reason why there's persecution, because of reaction to the claim of true Islam?
Yeah. When I say true Islam, if you see the literal meaning of Islam is peace, and the teaching of Islam is nothing other than peace and humanity. And that's why if you see the picture of Islam, the way it has been painted, unfortunately, and the way it has been getting practiced, unfortunately, as well, is not very pleasant.
No.
So that's why the humanity factor is gone there. This doesn't exist anymore. The bad pictures is everywhere. So that's the where the fundamentals need to be clear. Fundamentals are same, with no doubt in that one. The way it is getting interpreted and practiced is not from the origin. No. Islam doesn't teach what's happening in
If you were living on the streets, wouldn't you want more than just your best friend to keep you safe, warm and dry? Donate to Backpack Bed for Homeless and give warm, waterproof protection and dignity tonight. Call 1300 OzHelp.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity. I'm speaking with Javed Savta Chowdhury. He's the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association Australia, Victorian chapter. Javed, we were talking about interfaith, and that's a really important issue internationally, but particularly like in Australia, because Australia is one of the most multicultural countries in the world. How does it work? How does Ahmadiyya come into that interfaith? Do you run conferences or meetings, or how do you do that?
First of all, on all Australia level, not only in Victoria, but in our Sydney headquarters, and then all chapters in different states, Ahmadiyya Association or Ahmadiyya Muslim Association is active member of interfaith dialogues and the services. In Victoria, we are very active member of Victorian Interfaith, and in the respective council, for example, Dandenong Council, City of Casey, Frankston Council, and Peninsula, we are active member of those networks as well. We do regularly participate in different interfaith programs. We go to their programs, and different religious group do organize, and cultural group organize their program, we actively participate with open heart. And similarly, when we do organize our programs, we invite them and hold to our conferences, our symposiums, our peace conferences, and on our own vicinity, we do organize the interfaith meetings and seminars, that sort of thing. We not only we talk about our faith, we do listen to the other faiths as well. That's the way dialogue starts.
Yes.
Basically, that's the way you share the other's view and communicate definitely your point of view as well, which is very important.
Yes, it is indeed. And so, does evangelization come into it? Do Amadea evangelize and go and try and convert people? What is it that you do in that regard?
Converting is not the intention. The intention is to convey the truth. That is, God doesn't, or Islam doesn't, or any religion I believe doesn't. Intention is not to convert somebody by force. But it is the human nature, and it should be human nature, that if you know a truth, share that truth with others as well. This is what the reality is. Remove the misconception. Unfortunately, the most of the problems are because of the misconceptions, wrong interpretation. That's the way and that is only possible with the dialogue, with the communication, with conversation, and convincing each other. It's not winning or conquering anything. It's again getting your point of view across, and then you have to use both media. Listening first, which is more important than saying. If you won't listen to anybody, how can somebody listen to you? So that's what you've got to do.
Yes. Now, this is possibly a sticky question, but how do you interfaith or interface with other Muslim groups? Is that in Australia I'm talking about? Is there a smooth interface there? Or
yeah, we don't have any problem here in Australia. There's no animosity. We don't have any problem with that one. Although, because of some background information, negative propagandas, some people from, for example, Indonesia or Pakistan's negativity has brought in, and because of that, people try to avoid it.
Yes.
But honestly, we don't have any bad experience with any Muslim as well.
Well, that's very, very encouraging for the environment, religious environment in Australia.
I do have a lot of very personal close friends and association friends with the Muslim communities, other groups as well, and we work along well.
Oh, that's very encouraging. At an international level, because Amadea is international. Your headquarters is in London, isn't it?
Yeah. Our current headquarters is in London, but if you look at the history of Ahmadiyya, it started from British India of the time, then Pakistan came into existence at the time of partition, then headquarters was shifted from India to Pakistan because majority Muslims there, and we were considered as a bona fide Muslim at the time, Ahmadiyya faith, and that's why. But when all this political and struggle things comes in 70s, our supreme head of the time has to be for exile from Pakistan to UK. So that's the way since then they're based in UK.
Now, you mentioned your supreme head. How does that work? It's an elected position, isn't it?
It is an elected position.
Yes.
Khalifa is the position, and we believe very strongly, although logically this have to be a fair process, but we strongly believe that when that get appointed by the God Almighty.
Yes.
That's not possible without his...
Yes. I'm minded of, although the parallels are not exact, but the appointment of a Dalai Lama, for example, that's done on a similar sort of a basis.
Yes, that's right.
So this is back in the 1889, and that was when you had the first Khalifa, is that right?
No, first Khalifa was a bit later.
Yes.
That was a time when promised Messiah, alayhi salam, peace be upon him, claimed to be the promised Messiah, and he was the first reformer, and then after his death, first Khalifa came.
Yes.
As a successor.
As a successor. And you've had this, the fourth one?
At the moment, we have got fifth one.
The fifth one, right.
Fifth successor at the moment.
Yes.
Mirza Masroor Ahmad.
I've seen some footage of him and he's a very impressive man. So how does he sit? It's not like the Pope, say, in the Catholic religion. The supreme head of theology is.
He is the supreme head of the community. Ahmadiyya is a religious-based community.
Yes.
We do have the religious side, and we do have the administrative side.
Yes.
So he is the supreme head for both. But again, from expertise point of view, when we believe in the Allah Almighty or God Almighty guides him or appoints him,
yes,
apparently he gets the guidance or wisdom from God. But again, administrative, as long as it's concerned, and the religious theology is concerned, he do have a people of expertise panels with helping him or
right,
supporting him.
Yes. So he doesn't have absolute infallibility. He can discuss this with or has a panel of advisors.
Definitely.
On points of interpretation.
He has got a panel of advisors, and
yes,
although he does have the supreme authority, though he's the supreme head.
That's right.
And but definitely nobody has 100% knowledge.
No.
And in area of the fields he has the knowledge. Definitely he says it, and where he will, it's like normal thing.
Yes.
You are not expert in everything, but Allah Almighty gives you the guidance as well, give the support through the human beings.
Yes.
Logical way.
That's a perfect time to go to a break. We'll be back in a moment.
So how have things been going? When a young person is diagnosed with cancer, it affects their family, their friends, their entire world. Red Kite supports young people with cancer and those around them in real ways.
Yeah, hi, it's Michael. Yeah, I'm at the hospital.
We rely on your generosity to make a positive difference in the lives of thousands of families every year. We can't always make things better, but with your help, we can lighten the load.
Do you currently have a community service announcement on free-to-air television? If you do, you can now submit it to us as well via our website at MELfeed.video. We have lots of time to fill on these broadcasts, and we are sure to give your announcement a great run on MELfeed.video. Northern Access Television will turn 30 in 2020. We are planning a celebration night with a book and a special TV show about our history. If you're a past member or a volunteer of NAT, we would love to hear from you. For more details, visit the website nat30years.info and find out how you can help celebrate 30 years of media for the community. The 30th anniversary of Northern Access Television. Let's celebrate in 2020.
Hallelujah.
Welcome back. You're watching Harmony and Diversity, and today we're speaking with Javed Safdar Chowdhury, who's the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Association Australia Victorian chapter. One of the differences between aspects of Islam actually relates to the jihad, I understand. How does Ahmadiyya look at the jihad?
Ahmadiyya totally condemn any violation, any extremism. Islam itself is a faith of moderation and peace. And the jihad, which people give the name of holy war as well, which is totally, according to Ahmadiyya faith, is unacceptable in the current time. There's no need of jihad at the moment. That's the word the founder of Ahmadiyya faith, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad alayhi salam, said, there's no need of jihad, of the sword at the moment. If you want to win somebody, again it is winning with convincing them, win the hearts, not the land. There's no need to conquer the land. There's no need to do the bloodshed. At the moment, jihad as one of the fundamental of Islam does exist, but jihad of the pen, jihad of the writings, jihad of the convincing Jihad of the winning the hearts is needed, not jihad of sword, not jihad of blasting, not jihad of suiciding or conquering the land is required anymore. So that's the one of the extremism. If people do understand that one, so all extremism, all fundamentalism, all bloodshedding does finish, and the peace will prevail on the world.
So has any member of your faith ever been subject of jihad? Do you think is the violence that's been directed to persecution, is that jihad based, or?
That's what they say. That's what they claim. In Pakistan, Indonesia, two typical examples. Current one, our Ahmadi has been killed, tortured, murdered. Men, women, children, elderly people, and youngsters, all age group, because of this thing. People offering their prayer, and somebody with a fundamental approach and think they are doing jihad. They've been taught in that way. They do blast and they do kill people while they offering the prayer in the mosque.
Yes.
So people have unfortunately suffered, and they are suffering.
And so how does the Khalifa, how does he handle that sort of situation? What's his message on that?
Khalifa is the man of God. Khalifa is the man of peace. Khalifa is, his responsibility is to educate moral values, peace, harmony, and your religious teaching definitely to your own nation. And Khalifa is not for that nation only or that faith group only. Khalifa, once appointed, there's one God, and that God has appointed him, or he is representing God in this world. So it is for whole humanity. So Khalifa convey the message of peace. At the moment, Ahmadiyya Muslim Association has, other than circulars and messages and his visits to different countries worldwide, Ahmadiyya Muslim Association has a worldwide 24-hour TV channel, MTA International Muslim TV Ahmadiyya, which he delivers the sermons, speeches, messages, harmony programs, interfaith dialogues, and what's happening through him and other involved in that. And Khalifa delivers every Friday sermon to whole world, telling the current situation. And currently most of the sermons of Khalifa with the world relation and peace is about the peace of the world, destruction, which you can see the danger of destructions, warning them that how whole governments of the whole world can do together to avoid this destruction, which any logical person can see that what's forthcoming.
Well, that's quite an efficient way of communicating through a TV channel like that. What's the structure look like physically? Like there's the Khalifa, but under that, is there a layers of administration or authority?
Okay. We believe in unity. Always the way there's only one God, we believe, one supreme power in the universe, which is God. Then in the same sequence, God has appointed one supreme head for the humanity, which is Khalifa. And the layers definitely goes all the way down. Then for different administrative works and different religious theological work, there's heads or expertise people, matter expert peoples are appointed there. And then administration point of view, there's other than central administration, then country-wise, there's the one supreme head of the community, Australia-wide, for example.
Yes.
Then in Australia further, each state-wise, there's a community head. And in each state, then again further going down, we do have auxiliaries. One head of the women's side, one head for the youth, one for the children, one for the elderly people. That's the way our organizational structure works.
And do you have imams?
Sorry?
Do you have imams? So you have...
Okay. Imams, I think there's a perception of imam as well. Imam is the person who is leading the prayers. That's the one role. And imam can be anybody. For example, in Victoria, we had a person appointed which was dedicated because of the religious duties point of view, religious services point of view, religious teaching and education point of view. At the moment, that position is vacant in Victoria. And myself being the president of the community, I have learned few things with experience as well, although I have different professional background. So I do lead the prayers as well. And similarly, in my absence, we do have a number of people who can lead. In Ahmadiyya faith, any Ahmadiyya Muslim faith, any Muslim should be able to lead the prayer. And that person who is leading on the time is the Imam. But Supreme Imam is one, and appointed Imam can be slightly, administration point of view, be different. But Imam doesn't have to be a mullah or with somebody with big beard or this.
Yes. So just going back to the Khalifa, I think I'm right in saying that he'll be visiting Australia fairly soon. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is plan for him to visit. We will be very fortunate, and we're waiting for that time. Khalifa of Ahmadiyya Muslim Association or Ahmadiyya Islam will be visiting Australia toward the end of this year.
Okay, that'll be a big exercise for yourselves.
It will be, definitely. We're very excited about that one, and it is long waited since whole community is waiting. It will not be the blessing only for the community. We very strong believe this country, which has given us a lot, it will be very big blessings for Australia as well, and look forward for that.
That's very good. Thanks very much, David. You'll be watching Harmony and Diversity. Next week we'll be back with Javed again to explore further the Ahmadiyya faith.
Baha'u'llah, Shanti Om, Allahu
So, you think you're ready for this?
To take on the world? Why not?
You're there when they can't sleep. You're there when they forget. But who's there when they're at school? Asthma can be serious. It affects 1 in 10 Australians and claims 400 lives each year. Does anyone at your school know what to do in an asthma emergency? Log on to asthmafriendlyschools.org.au and find out if your school is asthma friendly. Shouldn't every school be asthma friendly?
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
The following program carries an MA classification and may contain adult themes and coarse language. MELfeed.video advises that it is suitable for viewers aged 15 plus.
Post-epic fit, part 2. Calliope, the headless torso of your son dances within the wild rapids, his dead fingers waving like memory wings. As Casca on stage, you stab your Caesar, stab his back, stab his chest, stab his groin, stab his lychee soft eyes. The holy river has turned glacial. Young feet walk its shore before the rise of the first day, calling. I felt I knew how this was going to end, even before I'd forgotten your name for the third time. Listen, listen. The horsehair brush loaded with white pauses above the lit candle. Whisper, whisper. The sound of your name just turns me on. Full of beer and peyote tequila, the trees grin, stretch the branches to breaking. The red rocks start barking, the thistles into nests of spitting snakes. Ah, yes, he mused. Love is a thief, yet none complain of its robbery. Now, if I were to steal the priest's golden cup and give its contents by deception to the unbelievers.
So I really like this song, and it's on the second Romeo and Juliet album. And it's about, there's a part in the song, and it's about worrying and how we worry so much about all these little things in life that we really can't change. And the analogy is that we worry, well, the worrying that we do is as effective as chewing bubble gum to solve an algebra equation. And the things that we really should be worrying about are the things that sort of, you know, swipe you out on some like idle Tuesday at 4 o'clock when you get that phone call and it just changes your whole fucking world. Well, this poem's about a phone call that I got that changed my whole fucking world. Andrew McLean, Ladies' Man. Ladies' man charms, your muscular arms, safe from all harms, with your ladies' man charms. But friend of a friend said you're going on a bend, so write a letter to send yourself to your end. They are all aware that you're not all there, that you're starting to tear, that you're losing your hair, breaking out on your face, a map of the place of your mind in outer space. You're gone without a trace. So emancipate yourself, relinquish your wealth, replenish your health, the only damn way you know how. With the belt buckled tight, your goals within sight, you start with a bite to help you take flight. Your mind has been drained, your hope severely strained, but you've got everything to gain to rid yourself of your pain, 'cause you are Andrew McLean.
A short history of Spag Bowl. It's a bit sordid, but never mind. I learnt ragu alla Bologna from a gay guy called Shay round the back of St Mark's Church, Fitzroy, sharing a house. His real name was Paul Jackson from Bentley, lived there with his auntie, sometimes wore a beret. He was into short haircuts, hot sea baths, and Fairfield Park. I believed in rooting girls, so I barely noticed, except for how well showered he was. In winter we read cookbooks and wore thick socks. If he was nervy, so was I. Working at the Ioneer Hospital in theatre, his job to tip out ampoules left over brought them home instead. Methamphetamine sat on our mantelpiece for a year. Playing racing patience one night on the red carpet, we looked up. 12 hours later, snap, 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 we never played that song again. Gay guys just walk away when it gets boring. We took the truth drug, sodium amytal, drove up empty Smith Street looking for hot chocolate, nearly ran into a cop car. No officers, we're not drunk. With Mandy's we lay on the carpet like warm, wet monkeys listening to Iggy Pop Velvet Undergrounded. We'd go to Le Mans, top of Collins Street, to eat rumbarbas with a heap of cream. One was good, two could make you sick. There was that competition thing to eat 3. Walking back through Treasury Gardens talking shit to possums. He played records on Triple R and worked at Central Station. And at the time, I was making chicken liver pate for another guy who was only half gay. Once he slapped my face, but I had a habit to maintain. $200 a night kept flesh on my bones. To this day, I can't stand the sound of ventilator fans. Lots of jobs are stoves and ovens. The house had a glass wall kitchen at the back. Shay fried celery, carrots and onion in a cast iron pot. Cooked the meat in wine, then in milk to settle out the sharpness. Recipes of secret ingredients like nutmegs and cloves. You look at a person's face, but what do you know? My ragu alla Bologna is now like his. Been trying for years, don't know where he is, probably fat. Another queen walking down Oxford Street. We all go home in the end. I'd like to cook a last meal and touch the feet of people that I met under the table.
It's always been my dream to represent Australia in the Olympics. Epilepsy affects nearly 250,000 Australians. Like me, most people have their seizures controlled with medication. Even today, people with epilepsy face incredible discrimination, but this prejudice is just another obstacle we can overcome. We're just as capable as anyone else, and often we have to be stronger. I promise I'll do my best for Australia. Will you do your best for me?
Australian women need to kiss more. Watch out for persistent and unusual symptoms, as they could be a sign of ovarian cancer. Know the important signs and symptoms. Kiss. Look out for symptoms like abdominal or back pain, difficulty eating or feeling full quickly, or persistent bloating, or a change in toilet habits. If you're experiencing persistent and unusual symptoms for more than 14 days, see a GP. Make sure you kiss regularly.
If you choose to drink then drive,
you could ruin lives.
Someone else's,
your family's,
or your own.
Choose not to instead.
The right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
We reckon one of the most powerful things in the world is this sausage. Because a sausage can do just about anything. It helps people to walk, see and hear, supports families after fire, drought and flood, and even helps plant trees in our community. Our sausages are working to cure cancer, helping farmers in tough times, and connecting people who are new to a community. And at the same time that they're doing all that, they're nurturing the leaders of tomorrow while building friendships that last a lifetime. Yep, these humble sausages are more powerful than you can believe. They're working wonders in our community. And at Lions, so can you. Lions Australia, we serve more than sausages.
Fabric of feeling. Does it feel comfortable on your skin? Does it hang loose or restrict your movements? Does it fray easily? Was it tailor-made or off the rack? Is it pressed, iron-free or rumpled? Is it stained, clean? Do you wash it? Does someone else? Do you keep a wardrobe of feelings? How do you choose which one to wear? Is it chosen for you? If it's torn, do you mend it or replace it? Does the fabric of feeling reveal your figure, or do you wear it to hide your body? Do you know what you wear? Do you care if others like it? Would you rather wear a different feeling? Can you? Thank you.
These foolish things remind me of you. Copper plate hand, blotting paper, matching stationery, Gladstone bag, calamine lotion. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. Bath with 4 legs, toes and claws. Shower head big as a bucket. Kero heater, bed socks and a hottie. Tea for 2 and 2 for tea. Cake forks, bone china, doilies and antimacassars. Heaven, I'm in heaven. 4/7-11 on the dressing table. Hairbrush, shoehorn, clothes brush, hand mirror, in a set with tortoiseshell backs. And the way you look tonight, curlers, hairnet, lavender bags, an ironed hanky, hand-crocheted edges. It's delicious, it's delightful, it's lovely. Apron, bottling set, pectin powder, lemon butter, japonica jelly, flummery, pressure-cooked greens. It's only natural to be my desire, to have what you require, to give you everything, dear. Pinking shears, darning needles, washing blue in muslin bags. Marvia. I don't want to set the world on fire. Backyard incinerator, rain gauge, Derris dust, chook shed. A toot, a toodly-a-dee-doody, playing 8 to the bar. Ragtime piano in the lounge room, mouth organ round the kitchen table. As time goes by, family Bible, great big cypresses in the yard. After you've gone, kapok mattress, still dinted where you slept, papers in the deed box. But I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
She spoke of validation while her tongue hummingbird fluttered over lyrical stutter, da-da-da-ba-ba. She didn't scatter her words with keys or notes. She thundered her letters like hailstones on kettle drums. Under the deluge we danced like frogs, skipping along to her melodic song, skiddly-ba-ba-ba-diddly, until stop. She whispered her words into the microphone, her voice dark with the depths of her honesty. Why does it take an audience to complete me? What is my addiction to the stalking eyes that track my moves, perceive my rhymes, my lyrical lies I contrive as entertainment to the crowd? Who am I when they're not around? What's the validation I seek? Not incomplete, but I'm not me till I express my heartbeat, escape my fears, reveal my years in these mini mouth heats. Skilly-da-ba-ba-di-da-da-da. Her eloquency is missing from me, but her message revealed her honesty to herself and to her fans. As her thunder cleared from open skies of silence, preceding waves of applause, unnoticed in the swarm that buzzed and jived, I felt my mind spark to life for a different reason. I too believed in my addiction to appeasing the nameless features in the crowd. The inspiration for my creation I dream to someday call art is 1 part internal monologue, 2 parts withdrawal. The buzz from telling you this is better than sex. Tell me this moment isn't worth holding on to, yet what is this when you're all departed? I couldn't believe she could whisper my fears into her music, stating bravely her daily need. She raised her hands for silence, then beat her gratitude out. Skiddly-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da. She thanked us, bowed low to the ground. Skiddly-da-da-ba-ba-da-da-da. Without you, this act means nothing.
This is the story of Tyler Cassidy, 15 years old and yesterday alive and free. Thanks to Victorian police efficiency, some manic and some panic, today they're singing Blessed Be. Well, a boy knows a weapon from the time that he's born. We don't take them away. We don't tell them they're wrong. Don't educate them in the harm that hides in the charm of the gun, or the blood left to run by the glittering sword. It's a shame, it's a game, and death is just a word. Cleavers or knives, make up your minds, paparazzi. Either way, it makes for a juicy story on the front page ad for a free DVD of The Happy Elf. Now ain't that Christmassy? 5 full pages of rumour and speculation, while a mother and a brother try to cope with desolation. This kid lost his dad when he was roughly 9, but he had no record, just his rep on the line. He was seen at the Leinster Arms, not a good move. Chopper hangs there, always something to prove. But the kid was washing dishes. Now ain't that a job, huh? Maybe he wasn't there to be a gangster or a robber. Nobody's a saint and nobody ain't. Lock up your art. You can't spray their grey with paint. Get your head straight and cool down your hot heart. Stop running, son. They want you to march. MySpace. Oh my. Won't these kids ever get it? One dumb picture and you're branded, you're in the shit. Now he's a Southern Cross soldier and he's gone AWOL with fair weather friends and alcohol, hormones, medication of any kind, or just the last straw. Just crack up time. Supermarket stock weapons right there on the shelf. He grabbed a couple, said he'd slash up himself or stab someone else or kill the whole horde, but he just jabbed at the products that he couldn't afford. Then he was racing for his life with the cops giving chase. He raced for the park where kids are supposed to be safe. Police gaining on him like a pack of hyenas, not afraid of the blades on this teen screamer, 'cause it's uphold the might. The pentacle reversed is the sign of Satan, and the prey is cursed. 2 shots hit his chest, the rest hit his legs. Victoria Police at the trigger-happy best. Who heard Tyler Cassidy's final word? And who tolls the bell for another kid's murder? True friends' flowers fade in Northcote Skate Park. The full moon frowns and the caged dogs bark as the world turns further towards the dark.
Every new line means 2 more hands. Join us, lions.org.au.
We've all seen this one time or another. We may even have done it ourselves. But inhaling balloon gas is very dangerous and can be fatal. The helium in balloon gas acts as an asphyxiant, and when you inhale, it displaces the oxygen in your lungs. Balloon gas is safe in balloons and when you release it in a well-ventilated area and in a safe manner. So the next time you see some sucker about to inhale balloon gas, or you think it's going to be a laugh, stop and be gas-wise.
If you choose to drive on drugs,
You could ruin lives.
someone else's, your family's, or your own,
Choose not to instead.
the right choice could save someone's life.
Proud supporters of safety in our community.
GMCU and Southern Cross Austereo.
I was in my 40s when I was first diagnosed with bowel cancer. George, my son, was 6 years old at that time. These days, like people of his age, he's very busy, but he still needs to find the time to get to know his bowel cancer risk. Is that right, George?
Yes, Dad. Bowel cancer affects 1 in 12 Australians, young and old, and is our second biggest cancer killer. But if caught early, bowel cancer is treatable and beatable. My dad is living proof of that. So get to know your bowel cancer risk. Talk to your pharmacist or GP about screening. Protect yourself and the ones you love. Go to lovemyfamily.org.au.
Okay, so let's get to the haiku bit with the music bit. And this depends on poor Anna having to kind of... Poor Anna, yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. She's very competent. Let's just put it like that. Writing a poem, I turn the gas on, but forget to light the flame.
Washing day. My new red undies make the other clothes blush.
Women's skirts go up and down, legs remain the same. Young men's loud music scares away the girls they're scared of. Party at midnight, the 2-year-old looks older than the adults. Drugs, a slow war, mostly carried out lying down. Shane McGowan's teeth prophesied 9/11. Can't go to sleep, worrying about waking up. Through a gap, the cat watches. A cat watching through the gap.
My velvet tin roof drummer bounces to his own tune, purrs to the moon.
So many murders on my TV, one channel stops working.
Perfumer's secret. To make a fragrance sparkle, add a top note of vomit.
Eating cheese, he says, culture is over. More blue vein, I inquire. Backyards are the prison of well-loved dogs. You drive round the block waiting for me to grow up.
Autumn traffic jam. A gust of yellow leaves runs the red light.
In our dry country, rain on the roof sounds like religion.
Raining so hard, I stopped the car. Field of sunflowers.
Shopping trolley drowns in the creek. Fish swim through bars.
Stormwater drain. A flash flood of spring water bottles blocks the Moonee Ponds Creek.
Between the cabin and the toilet block, a kookaburra eats a chop. His answering machine had a haiku poem I didn't understand. Thank you.
No one knows what to say.
I try and treat him the same as I always have.
He didn't want to give up. He just couldn't.
Caring for Catherine was tough, but when I look back, it was the best thing we ever did together.
It's hard to know how to talk about dying. These people know. If you need to know how, visit lifeanddeath.org.au and join the conversation.
I want to get the word out to blokes about a little gland called the prostate. It's only the size of a walnut, but it can cause a whole lot of grief. Prostate cancer deaths pretty much equal breast cancer deaths. The problem is, if you wait too long, it may be too late. It took one of my mates. Don't make me angry. Talk to your doctor about your prostate, and if necessary, get it checked. You'd be nuts to leave it to chance.
Here is some brilliant news for adults who have difficulties with spelling, reading a newspaper or phone bill, or writing letters and emails. It can be easier to improve your reading and writing skills than to keep putting it off. Take the plunge. Call the Reading Writing Hotline, 1300 655506.
1300 655506.
It could change your life.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed Video, a different sort of TV.
On this week's show, we go to Melbourne Spring Fashion Week to see 20 young designers strut their wares down the Melbourne catwalk.
At Fashion Week, and yeah, it's been very hectic this afternoon. It's been very hectic. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things and taking up a lot of time, and yeah, we're just waiting to go on. No, it's no.
So what do you like about Mod Week?
I like being able to put in different themes all the time. You never know what to expect, and yeah, it's just enjoyable really. You get to be pampered all day and for the fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Street today asking people what's the most they've ever spent on an item of clothing. So let's just see how ridiculous some females and males can be.
You have gone crazy today, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell me, what's the most you've ever spent on a garment?
$60.
$60? That's a bargain. That's the most you've ever spent?
Yeah.
Really? You are a bargain hunter. There you go.
We came from Hobart to come
You come from Hobart?
Yeah, we come up shopping up here every year because like you don't have warehouses in Hobart.
Well, what's the shopping in Hobart like?
Expensive.
Expensive? And do you have as much variety as, say, you have here? Not at all.
Not really. Like we've got our standard Portman store, but we don't have a warehouse, so like you pay full price for everything.
Is it far to come though for you guys? Just jump on the boat or the plane?
In 50 minutes, and it was frequent flyers with Qantas, so it was free.
Oh, so this is like a free shopping day for the girls, is it?
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever spent on an item of clothing?
Oh, I'm a bit of a bargain hunter, so I'd probably say, oh God, around 120 would be the most.
Wow, that's pretty good. What about shoes? What's the most you've ever spent on a pair of shoes?
Yeah, I'm the same, probably about maybe 100 and, yeah, probably about 120 as well, actually.
Good girl. Yeah. She gets the prize for the...
I paid all the, you know, the factory outlets and stuff, so I'd try not to spend too much.
Hello, I'm Luke. I am a choreographer for the Young Designer Parade, which is on this evening. It's sponsored by Mercedes, and basically it's just sort of giving an insight into the new designers, the design of tomorrow, and yeah, it's a lot of different stuff. There's a lot of cutting edge sort of fabrics and a bit crazier, not so much streetwear, but more runway sort of stuff. It's a bit crazy back here, and I have to go because I have to get all these models and get them binging so that they fit into the garments. So I'll leave you all be, but I'll check back with you later.
My design label is Anna Martino as well. I'm doing a street map thing, like the city streets of Melbourne are featured on all the outfits. There's one thing that is getting sprayed at the moment. I'm pretty happy with it. I found Fashion Week this week's been very interesting, very busy. Everyone's put a lot of effort into it, and I'm glad that I'll be glad when it's over, I think. It's been good, but I think for everyone, they'll be glad to have it over with.
Is it a glamour?
I feel glamorous, sexy, of course, because of my shorts. Fun, everything. It's excellent. I love it.
Hello, I'm Alana. I have fun wearing this outfit because it's fun, and it's about time someone had fun in their outfits, and it always makes me want to do a shimmy in my little rara skirt, and it's fun.
Hello, my name's Claire, and yeah, I feel pretty cool. Like, it's a nice outfit, and it's done a terrific job. And yeah, I can't wait to get out there and strut my stuff.
How much is the most you've ever spent on an item of clothing?
$639.
On what was it?
A fur jacket. It's crossed between a leopard and a cow, so it was worth it. It's the pattern of a cow, but the colours of a leopard, so it was worth it.
Sounds good. Have you worn it?
I have. I wear it nearly every day down here.
Definitely worth it.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Martina. I'm wearing something for being a carver. Today we've just been having a lot of hair, makeup. Some amazing people have come in and done amazing things with my hair, so I'm really happy. And I'm wearing this for being a carver. It should be fun. Come down.
stuff on the catwalk there, but we want to see, what have you guys been buying today?
Just been buying some clothes, like a top and a jacket.
Top.
Yeah.
So in general, what's the most you've ever spent on an item of clothing?
The most?
Yeah.
About 150.
150. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I know, but...
Have you had to lie ever?
Lie?
Yeah.
About-
Say it was like cheaper than what it was?
Yeah, to my parents maybe.
What was it?
Nah, probably a pair of jeans. I'd probably say, you know, they're about...
Oh, that's pretty average, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd usually lie about that. I'd just say it's like $90 or something.
Well, why do you think you have to lie? Doesn't that like make the garment seem cheaper than what it really is? Isn't it better to say, you know, I spent 100?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
As long as it, you know, it's cheaper, it's all right.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll take a look at some of the fashion on the catwalk again.
One question.
Oh no.
We're just asking people today what's the most they've ever spent on an item of clothing.
In Australia about $900 probably.
And what was that?
It was on a ball dress.
Yeah. And was it worth it?
Probably not.
How many times did you wear it?
Once so far. $400 on a leather jacket in Italy because I had to.
Not too bad, not too bad.
That's about it. Good on you.
My name's Rebecca Parenthorne and my label is called Granite Concepts, and it's been a very hectic day. I've learned a lot because I've never done this before. The hair and makeup's really making the whole outfit come alive, and it's very, very exciting. It'll be a great night. How long have I been here? Well, I've actually been here since 12:30, but all the models and everyone have been here since 3 o'clock. Long day. Yeah, I've had a great day. Fantastic fun.
Okay, where are you guys from?
We're from Adelaide.
Adelaide. I'm getting them all today. I had some people over from Hobart. Is there certain labels you look for when you go shopping?
Not really. We're not really into the label thing.
No?
No.
Quality.
Cheap quality. Yeah.
Cheap. Is there such a thing as cheap quality?
I hope so.
And what's the most you've ever spent on an item?
Oh, yeah, 75.
75, you are cheap. There you go. You spent 100, and yourself?
Oh, Rangers, I guess. I reckon I've spent over 100 before, but...
On what would that be?
Oh, surf clothes.
That's pretty reasonable now, isn't it, though?
Pay for the name with that stuff.
Pay for the name?
Yeah, you do.
Well, what kind of design do you look for then?
Design, you mean like name or?
Either name or sort of product or cut.
Just something that fits well, really. Fits your figure.
Fits your figure. Well, we'll have a look back at the catwalk and talk to some of the designers and see if they fit the figure.
My name's Ellen and my label's called Mavis, and I have a shop in the city and I've just been making the clothes. It's the in-house label of the shop, and today's been fun. It's been really good, like just having all the hair and makeup and stuff. Yeah.
What they've been doing today, is that under your direction?
Yeah, it's under the direction, and then sort of like working with each other after that. Yeah, it's been really good. Yep.
Is this your first show?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, I've made other stuff, but never as like sort of solo thing, so that's been really good.
So it's the first show. Are you very nervous?
Not as nervous as I thought I would be because it seems fairly under control, so that's good. Thank you.
They feel heavy.
She's making a mistake. You don't want to be filming for a while.
Another show coming right up after this. Here on 15 Fabulous Minutes.
We're just asking people today about how much is the most they've spent buying on an item of clothing, and we were sort of thinking that maybe sometimes, you know, ladies might, you know, reduce the price a little bit with their boyfriend, husband.
Yeah.
All the time, yeah,
Really?
every time.
Yeah, we were just in there. I was buying some pants for work, and the eye was roving across the shelves there, and I just got shut down. No way. And after all, I'm spending my money, right? But no. On the other hand, it's good to have that opinion, you know, and
So do you lie to me about how much you spend?
no, because you know exactly what I spend.
But you, on the other hand, lie to him. Now, you're not going to tell us, are you, what you...
I always tell them the end, but a year later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. What's an example of that?
Saba boots.
Yeah? How much did you tell him you spent on them?
$200.
And how much were they?
$450.
Okay, double and a half.
I basically want to know how much you actually spend on an item of clothing.
Oh, not much.
What's not much? The
50 the most.
50's the most. So you've never had to lie to him?
No.
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 What about yourself?
Only about a 30 or 40 man.
30 or 40 man. That's the top dollar.
Oh, it's for a t-shirt or something like that.
Yeah, what's the most though you've ever paid for?
Paid about 50.
50? Well, there you go. What can you get for $50 these days?
Oh, probably a jumper or something.
A jumper.
Okay, it is 18 minutes past 7. It's almost parade time, and I'm just here with one of the designers, Melody Briggs.
Hello.
And one of the models, Danielle.
Hello.
Now, these guys are kind of running a little bit late, you could say. We're just going to wrap Danielle's hair around her neck because she's eaten a bit too much before the parade, and she looks a bit heavy, and we like that look. So we're just going to completely cover the neck, basically give her a turtleneck hairstyle. Now, you looking forward to the parade?
Yeah, this is going to be great fun.
It's all lies. She's getting paid. She doesn't care.
I am not.
Everyone else is getting paid. And Melody, are you looking forward to the parade?
Yes, I am.
And the best thing about the Young Designer Parade is?
It's free. Everything is
I guess.
free.
You heard it. 2 girls, very cheap, down here at Mercedes Young Designer Fashion Week.
My name's Martin Nicholas. Doing this on behalf of for Daisy B, Daisy Jewellery. Yeah, Fashion Week's been pretty wicked. Just been doing various designers, some awesome clothes, awesome labels. So you know, it's rock. Got a wicked tat drawn on my arm, so it's all good. But yeah, no, it's been a really good week. Is modelling a glamorous life? You get tired of living out of a suitcase, but yeah, it's a wicked life. A lot of beautiful young ladies to work with, and that's never a bad thing. So.
My name from Sydney, and the week's been pretty good. Not bad.
How does Sydney compare to Melbourne?
Probably just on a bigger scale. There's more designers, obviously. There's just a bigger hype as well. Like
in Sydney?
Yeah. Always, like most of the designers, they're full.
What do you prefer, Melbourne or Sydney?
I like Melbourne for the fact that the girls are better.
Asking people today what's the most they've ever spent on an item of clothing.
Most I've ever spent on an item of clothing, probably about maybe £200, like 300 Aussie dollar, 600 Aussie dollars.
And what was it?
I think it's a pair of Japanese Avisu jeans.
Ooh, very nice. And where did you buy those?
Covent Garden, London.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Things are a little bit more expensive over there though, so that's kind of justified.
More expensive, yeah.
What about shoes?
Shoes, what the most I've ever spent?
Yeah.
Let me think. Probably £120, which is 360 Aussie dollars, on a pair of like sort of handmade leather shoes, which are used for work. Still got actually. Bought about a year and a half ago.
Back on the street, we're asking people basically, what do you look for when choosing items of clothing?
It depends, like
designer,
colour. Definitely colour.
That's more of a seasonal thing, though.
Yeah, I suppose.
What about designers? Do you go for the mainstream, or do you like someone who's a bit more individual?
I definitely love the Australian designers, Alana Keel and Bettina Liano, but I'm not really into the American stuff. Anything American is no.
Everything American. Well, there you have it. Well, we're going to go have a look at the catwalk and see some of the young designers doing their stuff.
Well, my name's Jane. My collection's about fish. It's about the movement of fish, the colour of fish. The hair is just like, I can't really say much. But urchin-like washed up, matted together like you've just been swimming in the sea or something. Results today, well, I would have liked gold leafing, but it's not possible to put that in the hair, so it's not as gold as I want it to be, but it's gold enough.
Hi, and we're here at the Young Designer Space, Mercedes Fashion Week, and we're here with OPP, that's my label. I put in the O to OPP, autistic. This is Pelt, one of the P's, Pelt 74, and we've got Peg over there, waving her hands in the air, and these are our 4 models. This is Kerry, the little darling. Show Mummy your apple, your orange. This is Kat, our gorgeous sexy one. She really whips it up on the catwalk. Emily, the elegant beauty, and Matt, need I say more, the sexiest man alive. Spring Fashion Week's been great. The Young Designer Space has been really good. Lots of young people, lots of talent. It's been really fun, lots of creativeness going on, lots of gorgeous models, and everyone's so friendly and happy to be here and do their little thing.
I'm Dan. I'm and
Beck?
Beck's a model. No, my label is Lease. This is it here. Accessory designer. And
Linden wear. I'm doing Linden. I'm doing the clothing for the parade tonight, so that's my card.
That's his label.
Clothing, and Dan's doing bags and belts.
Yeah, we kind of tend to describe our style as soapbox glamour.
We're just asking people today what's the most they've ever spent on an item of clothing. And we're actually talking to couples about whether, you know, the girl in the couple lies about how much she spends on things. Have you been guilty of that?
No, he's the one that spends all the money.
Ah, very interesting. And how much is the most you've ever spent?
Probably about $300. Was it the leather pants?
Do the leather pants get worn very much?
Not really that much. No. That's good though.
Great. What about shoes? What about you and shoes?
I'm not a big shoe person.
No? No? How much is the most you've ever spent on shoes?
Probably only about 80.
Yeah. Okay, you're all right. Okay, we won't smack you today.
I'm with Giant down in Melbourne. Priscilla's in Sydney. Just down for the week.
How have you found the whole week?
Oh, the whole yeah, it's great. So far, anyway, had a lot of fun. I haven't been doing too many shows, so I've been partying a bit and enjoying that.
Hey, I'm Martina. I'm wearing something for being a carver. Today we've just been having a lot of hair, makeup. Some amazing people have come in and done amazing things with my hair, so I'm really happy. And I'm wearing this for being a carver. It should be fun. Come down.
Well, there you have it, the inside and outside of the young designers and what people think and do on the streets. Well, you've been watching 15 fabulous minutes. Catch you next week.
When I was younger, my dad just took me to a rink because he had done speed skating, like, through his life. I then started to get, like, more involved in skating. Like, when you start skating, you go to just leagues and you start as a recreational skater, and then you build up to the state championships, national championships, and then, like, the stepping stone for Worlds is here at Oceanas. So hopefully next year we have more skaters going to Worlds. I just love, like, the feeling when you're just at your top speed and skating along with your friends, because you get some really good friends over the years that you skate, and everyone knows each other. It's just a good skating community to be in.
Went to a skating rink just up the road from my house, back in Adelaide. Went there for a session, got hooked on the thing when we went there and kept going out, and they asked us to come to a training session one night. Went there and been doing it ever since. You get in parking lots and you train through winter even when it's cold, but you're doing it because you're loving the sport, you know. And at the end of the day, it comes down to when you're racing and you're around the mates that you race with, that's where you want to be, you know.
I got into speed skating as a bit of cross training because I used to do a lot of professional half pipe. So I used to do a lot of tricks and so forth. So I got into speed as a bit of a cross train for that because the physical demands, you need to be very fit and very strong to be able to speed skate. So it was a good crossover. I guess the cool thing for me was moving away from a subjective environment and just worrying about here's the start, here's the finish, and try and get there as fast as possible. And it was a bit of a refreshing environment for me. Everything sort of starts to slow down a little bit, and you're just waiting for that whistle or that gun to go off, and it's you feel like a curled spring ready to be unleashed.
You got to beat the other guy, you know. You're always trying to push to get harder and harder. Next one is you're trying to, get away from the pain in your legs and the rest of your body you're going through, especially after a long race. And then after that, it's just down to just pushing yourself to get to that line, and win the race.
The speed is really addictive, and once that starts to sort of come together, then it's like, oh wow, I want to do more of this, and it becomes really, really enjoyable. I guess the way I describe it to my buds is, I get to ride on really cool looking skates that have carbon fibre in them. As soon as you say carbon fibre, everyone starts to look.
Amount of training and diet and just general dedication separates like first place to fourth place. That's how close it is. So you have to be really dedicated to be the best. When you get your name called out on the Australian team, it's really good to hear, and it shows like all your hard work has paid off. In the future, I want to be in Europe skating on the season called the World Inline Cup and just be the #1 world champion, because I've worked really hard over the years. World champion is my dream goal, and I really want to reach that.
It's just fun. You get out there, you get to go fast, do something different that no one else gets to do, and then you get older, you get better, you go overseas, you get to see the world, you travel and keep doing your sport, it's something you love doing.
Get active, get social, get on a roll. For more info, visit skateaustralia.org.au.
Live streamed from Echuca each week, this is MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV. Live streamed from Echuca each week, MELfeed.video, a different sort of TV.
Okay, Sarah, I'm going to order some pathology tests to see how everything's going.
Half the Australian population had a pathology test last year. That's you or someone you love. 100 tests are performed every minute, delivering vital medical information. From the moment you are born, your healthcare depends on pathology tests. 70% of medical decisions rely on information from pathology tests. Pathology is the engine room of healthcare. One small sample can reveal millions of insights all about you. Pathologists are your doctor's doctor. 25,000 people work to provide doctors with the answers they need to treat you. Australian pathology is world class. We may never meet you, but we see each of you as part of our family. Every minute, 23 Australians find out more about their health.
Good news, Sarah. The results show that everything's okay.
Pathology provides peace of mind.
I rely on Australian pathology.
Sign up online to support Australian pathology.
They say there's a chance I could die in a car crash. Maybe even from heart disease. Maybe even skin cancer.
I could die in a work-related accident, or I could die in a fight.
The fact is, the biggest cause of death for men in my age group is suicide.
Please don't let this happen to me.
You can do something. Lifeline believes that suicide is mostly preventable. Help us save lives. Find out what you can do at lifeline.org.au.
MELfeed Video is about to close operations for tonight, but we'll be back with you next Monday evening. In the meantime, here is a selection of programs that will be seen on our next scheduled web stream. You're welcome to visit our website at MELfeed.video for further details of this project. Until next time, from all of us here at MELfeed Video, we wish you a very good night.